On about the Air France Flight 447 crash off the coast of Brazil. Let me call him RF. Writes, "Hi, spaceman. I flew the A330-300 for Air Canada. Great airplane. The weather radar system was excellent." And he gives me a little tutelage on the pitot, pronounced pitot, which is the tubing for the speed indicator sensors. And he ends his email by 2 words: very suspect. So there you have a pilot of an A330 flying for Air Canada, complimenting the airplane and giving an excellent rating for the weather system on board. Now, as I said, the highest profile victim on this aircraft was Prince Pedro Luis de Lorient Braganca, third in line for the Brazilian throne and 35th in line for the French throne, a descendant of Don Pedro II, the last Brazilian emperor ever to reign. He was on that aircraft, now dead. Erich Hein, German steelmaker of ThyssenKrupp, Michelin Company, had 3 executives on the flight. Other passengers I found particularly intriguing were the Chinese. Yes, the Chinese company Bengxi Iron and Steel, based in Liaoning in China. They confirmed that a team of 6 of its executives embarked on Air France Flight 447. Are you ready? The 6 executives from the Chinese steel company Bengxi came to Brazil to negotiate the purchase of iron ore. They were Chipping Chen, manager of the company's international business. I mean, we're talking high executives. Mingwen Li, general manager of Bengxi Iron and Steel. And Shuang Qingbo, assistant to the general manager. And Sun Yangyu, director of production of iron. The list includes employees Zhu Bing Shen and Gao Jing. The newspaper also names 2 other Chinese on the plane. Jiachun Zhou, 27-year-old unemployed by the company, Huang Hai Technologies, and executive Kinghui Chen Ho, the Chinese Academy of Sciences, also confirmed that the Chinese scientist Zhang Xiao, 35 years old, was a passenger of the flight. Those were the ones I believed to be the actual targets of this disaster executed by the Illuminati. In the beginning, Air France announced 2 notices sent online only. Today we know that there were 24 warnings from that aircraft, reluctantly let out by Air France. More and more information is being hidden by the Illuminati with the sole aim of keeping the truth of what really happened to Air France Flight 447. They also have people who agree to remain in ignorance, to hide the secret. Secret for what? That plane was either shot down, had a bomb placed aboard it, just like the Air India bombing on December 21st, 1988, the Pan Am Flight 103 that was destroyed over Lockerbie in Scotland, or an electronic pulse that would kill all of the electrical systems aboard, just as the Space Shuttle Columbia had a great pulse, an electronic pulse that just wiped it right out. They are now killing time, I believe, because the pingers, the sound beacons, will only function for another 3 weeks. Then their secret will be in Davy Jones' logger forever. Silenced forever. They're already hinting that's exactly what might happen. This all gives them time to prepare a false story to convince us of what they really want us to believe. What happened? Ignorance protects, but not always. Now I've just given you the intended targets. What about the motive? Because I believe the Chinese were the intended targets, along with the steel executive of ThyssenKrupp. Why kill these steel and rubber executives of Germany, China, and France? As you're most assuredly aware, there's a global financial crisis in which all countries are scrambling to stay afloat. And if you're not aware, let me inform you that the entire car industry of the whole world is now being restructured. The fascist Italian family of Italy, the Agnellis, are now the owners of Fiat, are now the owners of Chrysler too. A Russian bank, Sberbank, has just bought the General Motors European subsidiary Opel. I know. The group that supposedly bought it, controlled Illuminati media, are saying it's Frank Stronach of Magna International. But he's only got 20%. The Russian lender, Sberbank, has 35%. And Sberbank has teamed up with carmaker Gaz, owned by the billionaire Oleg Deripaska, as an industrial partner. The consortium, the Russian consortium, will be the major shareholder, with GM holding another 35% and Opel itself retaining only 10%. Frank Stronach is given the 20% investment in the company because he makes car parts they need. He's also made other investments in Russia, too, along with Chrysler and Magna International, in building truck factory in Russia, which will soon make military vehicles, because this is where I'm going with this steel, iron ore, and rubber. Because remember I told you, when a country runs out of money, or its money is not good anymore, it has to mobilize. We're coming to that soon. And blocks of the areas of the world are beginning to get ready for just that very purpose, mobilizing their armies. Yes, there's a global financial crisis, but I don't see anybody skimping on their military budgets, do you? And what better way to bring the world out of a global financial crisis than to give a war? And everybody gets behind the war effort. War bonds are issued. And happy times are here again. And after the war, a one-world government will be born, with the Antichrist to lead it. That's the plan. Believe me, that is the plan. So we have the Russians and the Italian fascists buying up General Motors and Chrysler. Also, this week, the communist Chinese government has bought Hummer from General Motors Corporation. Sichuan Tianzhong Heavy Industrial Machine Company has announced their deal to buy Hummer the very first day after GM filed for bankruptcy protection in the U.S. this past week.